Even though we here at Grandpa's Kitchen are moving to a more heart-healthy and diabetic-friendly diet, please understand that we are not experts in the health industry. So before taking any of our recipes or product recommendations to heart, make sure that it doesn't rail against your diet that has already been established. And if you're uncertain, please see your healthcare provider. Any type of changes in your diet could cause health complications and or death. So cook smart and eat smart. Welcome to Grandpa's Kitchen, starring Grandpa, Cousin Cletus, Cousin Elmo, and your host, J. Bob. And hi, welcome to Grandpa's Kitchen. I'm your country cousin and host, J. Bob. That's spelled J. period B-O-B. Hi, and welcome to another episode here in the kitchen. If you're new to this, welcome. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. And if you got a useful comment or question or a recipe you'd like us to try out, we'll put it right down there in the comment section below. All right. Well, if you're wondering what this is not a cold sore. This is called New Razor versus Old Face. Boy, that sucker sting is taking its time to heal up. I hope y'all been enjoying the wild card round so far. All I can say so far is, how about them Packers? Didn't see that coming. Well, I'll tell you what, we got an action-packed episode today. Until we get too far into it, here's a word from our sponsor. Are you or one of your loved ones a big fan of the carnivore diet and wish they had a meat beverage?
What would you like to drink, Kowalski? Meat!
Well, have no fear. Wendy's Meat Soda is here. Yes, Wendy's Meat Soda, packed full of nutrients and vitamins, protein, as well as saturated fat, trans fat, salt, and cholesterol. Yes, Wendy's Meat Soda comes in a wide variety of flavors, such as pork, beef, possum, raccoon, squirrel, and our newest, roadkill. So the next time you get one of those uncontrollable desires to drink some meat, well, run on down to your local store and pick up some Wendy's Meat Soda, where our slogan, a stroke in every sip. Brought to you by the good folks at Yakima Industries. Well, what we got to do to pay the bills? I'll tell you what, good night. Yeah, the carnivore diet is not exactly healthy. Yeah, well, at least we're not like most YouTube channels, but they got that one thing out there they keep promoting. I keep saying all the time. What is it? What was it again? The Manscaped 3.0 or 4.C3PO or something like that. I don't know. What is it with folk nowadays want to shave down there in the nether regions? Whew! Could you imagine the razor rash you'd get from doing something like that? What would you put on it? Baby lotion or Desitin? I make you be crying. Talk about self-induced jock itch. Good night. And of all things to name it, the lawnmower. Huh? Ain't very manly. I'd have figured they'd have called it like the bush hog. Or even better yet, how about the chainsaw? Oh yeah, I could even figure out a motto for it. Every time you take a stroke with the chainsaw 6100 series, you get that undesirable urge to yell, good night. I'll tell you what, you ever check that thing out online? Oh my goodness, they got all kinds of attachments for it, and lotions and creams and sorts of things. Shoot, when I was checking that out, I wouldn't have been one bit shocked, not a bit shocked, to seeing a self-guiding vasectomy attachment. Ooh, I wonder how that would turn out.
That one hurt my marble sack.
Well, enough of that nonsense. Let's get on with things. Well, today's been just like any other day here at the old homestead. Well, everybody up getting things done. Grandpa's out in the barn working on a tractor. Elmo and Cletus are out there cleaning up a tree that fell over. Boy, did it make a mess. Woo! But here of late, our weather kind of been off. And all of a sudden, those two were out there, and they were cleaning it all up, get going. All of a sudden, it started raining on them, and they just hot-footed it in here. Speaking of which, Elmo, did you get all the tools put back up in the barn? All right. Did you make sure to put up the gasoline for the chainsaw? All right. Well, speaking of the gasoline, where'd you put it?
Outhouse.
You put it where? You didn't. What are you thinking, you dipstick? You know Grandpa goes out to that outhouse. Shoo, you know it ain't just use battery. He goes sneaks a cigarette every once in a while. Better stop him off. Hey, Grandpa. Grandpa. No, I'm not waving howdy. Grandpa, don't go in there. Don't. Grandpa. Grandpa. Dang. Cletus, get on out there and check on Grandpa. Woo. Good night. He blew his glasses and his hat off and burned his mustache off. Grandpa, you all right? Well, Cletus is out there giving him some of his tonic. He should be all right. Elmo, if I was you, I'd hot-footed out here and hide until he, because as soon as he comes back to his senses, he gonna tame your hide. Life here on the homestead, I'll tell you what. Well, let's just move on with what we're doing today. Today is part 2 of things that we can have while we're watching the game. And today we're going to focus in on beverages and our entree today, which is hot wings. Oh yeah. Can we make them healthy? We'll find out here shortly. Well, let's start with beverages that you can have. Now, most healthcare providers are going to tell you to drink lots of water, which is not a bad thing, but let's be honest, we can sing the praises of water. A 1 and a 2 and...
Water sucks. It really, really sucks. Water sucks. It really, really sucks.
Well, I really can't argue with that because even I'm going to say I get sick of water after a while. But so what can we have? Well, how about some tea, you know? You know, we make up some instant tea like this here from Lipton. Not a bad choice. Now, mind you, it has caffeine in it. So, depending upon your condition, you may want to go to decaf tea. Or try something like green tea. That's some good sipping tea right there. Oh, yeah. Well, what about pop? Well, still got to be careful. Now, most of you know to try, you know, if you got diabetes, sugar-free. Okay? But if you got heart problems and diabetes like myself, well, you're looking for caffeine-free and sugar-free. I know you saw in the last episode I was drinking the Mountain Dew Zero. Oh, those are tasties. But I can only have that here and there. Really what I want to have is something like Sprite Zero, no caffeine, or Crush Zero, or my favorite. Oh, yeah. How about an A&W Zero? Oh, tasty, tasty, tasty. Woohoo! Tastes just like a regular A&W. It's caffeine-free and it's sugar-free. All right? And this would be great to go with the game. All right? But I wonder, is there anything else?
Gatorade.
Well, how about Kool-Aid? Well, you can put your own artificial sweetener in it and make up the big picture of the Kool-Aid if you want. But here's another idea that's even better. These little pouches you mix in with water. These are the Skittle ones. And these are real tasty. No caffeine, no sugar. Woo, but they're tasty. Problem is with these things, once I start drinking them, I kind of have a hard time stopping. They're real good. Mix it up right in with cold water. Only thing is for me, they recommend like 16 ounces of water. These are better with like 20 ounces because they kind of are strong in flavor. But you make your own choices. So I wonder, is there anything else we could drink?
Gatorade.
We'll get to that in a minute, Henry. Any old hoot. What about if you like watching a game and you're like, I'd like a beer? Okay, well, I'm going to be honest with you. A couple beers during a game ain't such a bad idea. You just got to be careful with beer. Number one, if you got diabetes or heart problems, you really don't want to consume a lot of it. Maybe 1 or 2 per day. All right? But also you want to make sure you're getting the right kind, because some beers can elevate your glucose because they got a lot of carbs in them. So something like this here, like Miller Lite, just check it out on the carbs every time. Now the benefits from beer is that it will, let's see, how's that go get? It thins your blood. It does lower glucose levels. Yes, it does. But the problem is, too much of this can hurt your liver and cause other problems in your life. So if you can't be responsible with this, it wouldn't be a good idea. But no harm in having 2 beers during the game, all right? So don't feel you got to X that out. So you think there's anything else left we need to talk about?
Gatorade not only quenches your thirst better, it tastes better too, idiot.
All right, Henry, we'll talk about it. Good night. Yeah, Gatorade. Now, Gatorade is one of them things I would not be comfortable drinking in large quantities, all right? Now, Gatorade does come in Gatorade Zero, which has got no sugar and no caffeine. The problem is with Gatorade, it does have a lot of sodium and potassium. You got to remember, it was developed to help athletes or people who do really a lot of hard work to put back electrolytes back in their systems. But just sitting around watching the game, I really wouldn't advise it. It's going to depend on your situation. All right? Well, that's enough about beverages. So let's get into what we're here about today. Hot wings. Now, can we make them healthy and tasty? Check this out. So no more talk. Let's get her to cooking. All right, let's get started. First thing we're going to need is cut up some chicken wings, separating the tip from the wing and the flat. Now, I've already got them cut up. Now, what I'm going to need to do is we're going to have to get them dried. I'm going to put some paper towel down and grab another quarter sheet or half sheet, whatever. And I'm going to start putting them down, and we're just going to dry them off. You want to try to get these dry. It does help in the crisping process. Yeah. Dry them boogers up. All right. And if you've never cut chicken, you might want to learn how, because it's going to be better. But if you don't want to do this, you can always buy the flats and drumettes already cut up, and you don't have to cut them up. I just find this a little more cheaper. All right, now these I'm going to get me some new paper towel here in a minute. And the next step is we're going to just use baking powder. And we're going to dribble it all over the chicken. Just like so. Get some on there. Now, you can do baking powder with cornstarch. I'm just want just the baking powder. It doesn't have any carbs in it, where cornstarch does, all right? And what we're going to do is work that in real good. Oh, yeah. Get it good and floury. Because this is going to act like your flour instead of actually using flour. Alright. And try to get as much on there and really work it in. Really get it in there. It does do a better job the more you work it in. Alright. Now I'm going to put these to the side. Make sure, and I forgot to say this before you get too much further, make sure you have your oven set at 425 and preheat it up. As you get your, here, I'm going to do a little bit more on this one. It didn't look like you got enough. I mean, if you don't feel it's coated enough, always add a little bit more and work them in. And just make sure. All right. Then, I took a cookie sheet, put aluminum foil down, and then this wire rack over top, and we're just going to start laying them in here. Try to keep them far away from each other best you can. No, it doesn't have to look pretty, just get done. All right. Well, I'm going to do the rest of this up, and then once we get done, I'm going to put them all into the oven for 20 minutes, just like this. All right. Now, we've done 20 minutes, and what we're going to just do, and we're just going to flip them. Oh, yeah. Now, I don't put any seasoning in it, because it really don't need seasoning, just the baking powder. These are better for you because these are not fried. These are being baked. The better, healthier way to do it. Now, these will stick a bit. All you got to do is rock them, and they'll pop free. Now, as far as seasoning goes, we're going to you can use something like this, Slap Your Mama, the buffalo wing sauce, or maybe even Louisiana hot wing sauce. I like that Slap Your Mama. That's some good stuff. And we're just going to keep flipping these over every 20 minutes. Now, no, I didn't state how many times. It's going to be 3 times 20 minutes on each side, and then it'll last for about 10. All right? Now, on this next time we bring them out, if they're really sticking bad, I'm going to put some oil down. I'm trying not to put any oil down, but say like you're doing these and it's still kind of powdery, you can spray any area with like canola oil or something like that. All right, we got them all flipped. So let's get these back in the oven and we'll be back in 20 minutes. All right, while we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and take my sugar readings just to see where we're at. And I'm starting off about 89. Boy, that's a good number. I don't usually start that good. Okay, now this is going to be the reference, and then once I eat, we'll wait a couple hours and check it again and see what these wings are going to do to us. All right, well, we got a couple more minutes, and we'll be right back. Well, all right. Now, we just done 40 minutes total. Now, if you look, you can see a little powder here, a little powder there, powder there. I'm not going to worry about that too much. What I am going to do is I'm going to spray where these wings are at, because they're going to start sticking. And that one didn't do too bad, but I want to just spray where it was sitting. And I'm going to flip them all over, but give them a little coat, if I can get the dang thing to work. And that's it. I don't want these to stick too bad. And just do the same thing. Flip them over, spray. All right. Now, we're going to put them back in for 20 more minutes. And after that, we're going to go down to 10 minutes, and we should be done. All right? And we'll be right back like this. Okay. Now, they've already been in for a total of 1 hour. Now, if you notice in some areas, they're still kind of white, powdery looking. What we're going to do is we're not going to use the canola oil. I'm going to use some extra virgin olive oil. And I'm just going to give them just a quick spray anywhere it's white. Now, this is the first time I'm trying to do it with this. Usually I just use the canola oil. And we're going to just do the same thing, flip them over. I see there's a little bit of white right there. I'm going to give it a little bit of extra oil. Wherever it may look white. Now, they're browning up pretty good, but I think I'm going to leave them in. Let's see, the last one is usually about 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to go to full 10, maybe even 15 minutes, because I want them good and crispy. So, we'll be right back just like this. All right, I did give them 10 minutes, and I don't know if you can hear this, but they got crispy. Now, what I'm going to do is transfer them off the rack and put them in a bowl. And we go to the last step, which is to toss these in your favorite wingy sauce. All right, let me get this out of the way real quick, if I can find a spot. and bring them right over. Now, to toss wings, if you've never done it, just get your sauce, and if you've been using like I'm using this, just shake it up. And we want to go real easy with this stuff. It don't take a whole lot. And get them right on the wing best you can. We're going to start right there because I don't want to try to get too much. Have to do that, and you actually just sit there and toss them. You do it quite a bit, and there you go. Now they're getting coated. We can dip this in some fat-free ranch, fat-free dressing that, you know that the nutrition's there. The only thing I can think of that's really bad right here is you got to watch out. There's a lot of sodium. And no, we did not take the skin off. So if you're worried about having too much excess fat because of the skins, well, here's one idea. Cut it down to a smaller portion of what you're going to eat, all right? We might have these with some baked legs, and we'll be back with our sugar results, just like this. Well, all right, let's check out our sugar. If I can get this some blood out of this finger. Tell you what, I didn't time this right. Oh, there we go. And it did come up a little bit, but not much. Probably shouldn't have had them baked lays. But anyhow, this meal is... Yum! Yum! Well, all right. Those were some tasty wings. Yes, sir. Now, we want to make a formal proclamation because in the last episode, episode 14, and in this one, the videos you see of us cooking, we always do ahead of time. And we made a recommendation on both videos about using canola oil. Well, you have to understand, at the time, I didn't know that where once canola oil was considered heart healthy, they have later on found it is not. So please don't use canola oil. Just use, olive oil, avocado oil, or coconut oil, all right? Yeah, these are the better oils that actually have fat in them that are good for you. Now, as far as the hot wings, some things to take into consideration. Remember, we're leaving the skins on. So if you really happen to fight your cholesterol, you may want to lessen the amount of wings you have. Now, if you want more, you might want to try them without the skin. I don't know how that would turn out, just to be honest. It's an idea if you really want to trim more of the fat off. But if you notice, when we baked it at certain parts, you can see where the wings are left and seeing all that fat and grease that came off of it. That's the idea behind baking them versus deep fried, because most of the wings you're buying are deep fried, and that's not good because they'll do it in real nasty, cheap oil. All right? But we chose to use baking powder versus baking powder and cornstarch. Okay? Cornstarch has carbohydrates where the baking powder has 0. Okay, so we were looking at the diabetic levels. It's those baked lays I should have probably not had, but I didn't eat a whole bunch. It's portions, people, portions. All right? I think that about does it. This recipe comes from Chef Inch here on YouTube. Now, in the descriptions, we'll have his link to this recipe. If you want to check it out, you can make regular pub-style wings with these as well. All right? So, until next time, to Chef Ange and all his crew, we want to give you a big old
Salute!
Brought to you by Low IQ Production.